One of my favorite parables that Jesus shared with us while he was on this earth is the parable of the lost sheep. Jesus is standing before a crowd of Pharisees, Sadducees, and just different people. And he asks a question. He says, if a shepherd is leading 100 sheep and one of them goes missing, does the shepherd leave the 99 others to go and find that one lost sheep? And when the shepherd finds that sheep, he puts the sheep on his shoulders and goes home rejoicing. And when he gets home, he calls to his neighbors and friends and he tells them, "Come rejoice with me, for I have found my lost sheep." The Bible tells us that there's more joy in heaven over one repenting sinner than over 99 good people who need no repentance. This parable just really speaks to how much worth we have to God, how much value God sees in us, and just how much He desires to have a relationship with us. Even though we find ourselves, we never pursued a relationship with God, but God was pursuing us. At one point or another, we were all lost. Like sheep, we'd gone astray. And it's sad to think that there are some who never realize they're lost, and they go on into eternity without having a relationship with God. It's funny that you hear so many people say, "I haven't found God yet." But the thing is, we never find God. God finds us. He meets you where you are and makes things right. I think the reason people choose to stray away from God is because they may think that they know better than God. God gives us a free choice of whether or not we want to follow Him or stray away. It all comes down to free will. I think sometimes people will even back away from God when bad things happen, and they choose to retreat, when what they should be doing is pushing into God and letting God comfort them. There's even some people who may think that they can make things right through good works, that there's something that they can do through themselves to make things right. The problem with that is there's nothing good in us. There's nothing we can do in and of ourselves to make things right. Jesus is the only one that could bridge that gap between us and God. The Mosaic Law couldn't do it. And we see stories of that all throughout the Old Testament. Jesus has come to this earth choosing to have a relationship with us. And He wants to have an intimate relationship with us. And He is constantly pursuing us. Just like the parable says, when we're backslidden, when we've fallen out of the will of God, Jesus is coming after us. And He wants to restore us. Even though we're sinful, even though we make mistakes, and even though we do things that in our hearts we know we shouldn't, God still desires to have a relationship with us. And Christian, I want you to remember that it all comes down to our choice to have a relationship with God. And I just pray for each one of us that we will continue to choose to have a relationship with God and to not live for man. or anybody else.